Welcome to a quick tutorial on enabling SSL decryption in PAN-OS. For this video, we are going to use PAN-OS 11.1. Let's get to the configurations. The first step in enabling SSL decryption for this lab is to create a set of self-signed certificates that we will be using for the SSL decryption. Before creating the certificates for the forward proxy, we will be creating a root certificate authority. For the root certificate authority, the name can be anything. We can keep the signed by field empty. Make sure that you tick mark the certificate authority field. For the certificate attributes, it's not required to add any values, but if you prefer to do so, you can go ahead and do. And also for the algorithm, you can select either the RSA or ECDSA algorithm. Let's go ahead and select generate. Now we have created the root certificate. Next, we are going to create the required certificates for the forward proxy. Again, this certificate name can be anything. I prefer to keep the word RSA or ECDSA depending on the algorithm that we are going to select, and so that it makes life easy when we're actually doing decryption, and when you're seeing the certificate, we can know which certificate that it actually came from. And for the signed by field, we are going to select the previous root certificate that we created, and make sure for the certificate authority that you put the tick mark. And also, again, certificate attributes, it is not something that is necessary, but if you prefer to do so, you can add the values. Next, we are going to create an ECDSA certificate. Same steps, whatever we followed for the RSA certificate, we are going to follow the same steps. And only difference is on the algorithm, we are going to select the algorithm as ECDSA. Now we have both the certificates created. So these certificates will be the certificates that will be presented by the firewall when we are doing SSL decryption. And to tell the firewall to use these certificates, what we are going to do is we are going to go to this certificate and mark this certificate as a certificate to use for the forward trust. As we are going to do SSL decryption, we are going to need another set of certificates that we are going to call as forward on trust certificates. The reason that we need this forward on trust certificate is that if we visit a website that has an expired certificate or that has an untrusted certificate, the firewall will be presenting these untrust certificates to the user. The user will be able to know that the site that they have visited has untrusted certificate. Similar to previously, we are going to create an RSA certificate and an ECDSA certificate, but this certificate we are not going to be signed by the root certificate. This is going to be a separate individual certificate, and then we can put this forward on trust certificate tick mark. ECDSA certificate also, same thing. We don't need it to be signed by the root certificate. We can have a certificate created as a certificate authority itself. ECDSA certificate also, we can go ahead and select the forward on trust certificate tick mark. Now we have all the required certificates created that we will be using for SSL decryption. Second step in enabling SSL decryption is to configure the decryption profile. For that, we can go to Objects and select Decryption Profile and select Add New. From here, we can configure various checks to be done while we are doing SSL decryption. And also, if we are not doing SSL decryption, we can select certain parameters. Under No Decryption, we can select to block expired certificates and also untrusted issuers. Under the SSL protocol settings, we can enforce the use of minimum and maximum protocol versions for the TLS session. Also, we can enforce the use of specific algorithms for key exchange, encryption, and authentication. Step 3 is to create the decryption policies. So decryption policies will govern what traffic to be decrypted and what traffic not to be decrypted. We go to policies decryption to configure the decryption policies. First rule we are going to create is a no decrypt policy. We give a name to the policy and select LAN as the source, and for the destination we are going to select WAN. For this we can give any IP address if we need more granular policies. Here what we are going to do is we are going to select specific URL categories which we are going to exempt from decryption. I had also previously created a custom URL category which I included specific URLs that I need to exclude from decryption. Default action is to not decrypt. Here for the decryption profile, I selected the previously created decryption profile, which will block sessions even if you are not decrypting, but the site we are visiting has expired certificate or an untrusted issuer. Now we are going to create another policy that will say what traffic to be decrypted. Policies are evaluated from top to bottom, so this policy will be under the first policy that we created. So we are going to name this policy as decrypt all, and we'll use the same source and destination zones. For the action, we will select decrypt, and also we will select the previously created decryption policy. Now we have done the required configuration for the SSL decryption, and we are going to commit those configuration to the firewall. One of the important points is that you need to have the right security policies in place for the traffic to pass through. Make sure that you have also blocked the quick protocol as a best practice at top of the security rule base. As final step, I will show you how we can export and import the certificate for SSL decryption. As we created the forward trust certificates under the root CA, we can export only the root CA to the devices that will take part in the decryption. To export, checkmark the root CA and select export certificate at the bottom. When we are exporting the certificate, we don't need to export the private key for this certificate. Now I have imported the certificate to the device that I'm going to use for SSL decryption. And next step is we are going to install this certificate on the particular device. We are going to select local machine as the certificate store. And when we are placing the certificate, we are going to select the trusted root certificate authorities as the place to place the certificate. Now we imported the certificate successfully to the certificate store. Next, we are going to test if the SSL decryption is working properly. Before testing, we can actually go to the certificate store and verify whether the certificate is actually in the certificate store. Even if you distribute the certificate using SCCM or any other tool, if you want to verify whether the certificate is there, you can go to the certificate store and verify. Also, we can visit any website that we call as HTTPS website, and then we can view the certificate that is being presented when we are accessing that website. Here you can see the certificate that are presented are the ones that we initially created and marked as forward trust certificates. Now let's visit a financial website and see how the certificate is presented in that website. If you recall, we accepted financial websites from decryption. Here, when we go and visit the website and we see the certificate, we can see that certificate is not the one that we created, rather the certificate that is originally on the website itself. Also, if we check the firewall traffic logs, we can see a specific column called decrypted, which will indicate if the traffic is decrypted or not. If the column is not visible, you can enable that column through the GUI. Also now, you can see the traffic destination to port 443 shown as web browsing, whereas previously this traffic was shown as SSL. Here, quick traffic is also set to deny, hence we see those traffic as deny logs. Once we expand the traffic view, we can see additional details such as how many packets transmitted and received. This is helpful to understand if there are any issues during SSL handshake. Also, we can check the decryption logs, which we will be able to use to troubleshoot if there are any decryption related issues. Thank you for watching this video. Hope it was useful.